All right, everybody. This is ZeroPoint number 13. We're gonna get started here today with our guests. So today we have Bisounours, we have Tech Leaks, and we have Six Clubs. Bisou's gonna be talking to us about an application he's been working on for a while. Before we get started, though, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and go around the room and just have everybody introduce a little bit about themselves. So, first, Bisou, you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself and what it is you do?
Hey, everyone. So I'm a software engineer, freelance software engineer. I've been working in the Zero space for about 2 years now, I think. And, I've been working on this secret dApp. No, it's not that secret, but, I'm going to talk about it today.
All right, beautiful. Tech Leaks, you haven't been on in a while. Do you want to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Hi there, Tech Leaks on Twitter, or also don't know me, I'm some sort of activist. I like to call myself privacy activist. With this point of time and heading on what's happening in crypto, I like to grab a ball and play with it. I dig into stuff and to tag into projects and try to do deep due diligence.
Perfect. And Six, I think you've introduced yourself plenty of times, but you can do it again.
I'm Six Clubs. I like to build things on Zero. Also like to learn as much as I can about Zero. So these ZeroPoints are a great place to do that.
Man, perfect. So Bisou, so why don't you tell us a little bit about this dApp you've been working on?
All right. So the dApp is called Phoenix. It's been named after Nonsensus because we hosted Nonsensus there. And the idea came from multiple people and multiple different concepts. So probably the first person who showed me that, maybe I want to start by what it is. So what it is, before everything, it's like a protocol that allows people to share space content and to give value to the content. So what it looks like in terms of application is like a similar thing to Twitter. So you would share a bit of text, a message, and you would let people upvote or downvote whatever you just expressed on that. So that's one part. The how do you upvote or downvote or whatever? How do you give value to the post? Is by a mechanism that is called signaling or locking. So you basically lock some coins, whatever is Zero or other assets, onto a message, and then you lock it for a given amount of time. So for example, you lock 1 Zero for one day, and from that the front end, the application, the graphical interface can compute what is the score of that post. So people might like the ID and post and lock something on this, saying, okay, I like this ID, I want to give it a higher score. And then on the other hand, if you don't like what is said, you can kind of downvote it, and then the score decreases. And obviously, the more coins you put, the more the score increases, and the longer you put it, the more the score increases as well. So I may go into detail on how is everything computed later, because there's a lot of different mechanics to avoid spamming, to avoid people playing with it in a bad way. So yeah, but I think that's a good summary of what it is so far.
Okay, cool. So I guess before we get into the mechanics and the deep version of how it works, in general, like when a user wants to use it, how does it work in that way? Is like in order to launch the application, what steps are necessary for them to start using the platform?
So basically, when you come up to the platform, you can access the data. So you can access the list of posts. You can access that for free. You don't need an account. You don't even need an address, because it's going to be public. But once you want to post something, or you want to value some of the posts by locking coins, then you'll have to register on the platform. So registering is basically just one thing. It's just for the smart contract to give you ID based on your address. And then you can have like username, and there's two ways to have a username. So there's using the name service contract that is native to Dero. So if you register the name on this contract, then on Phoenix, once on the registering process, it will detect using your address. It will detect your name, or which of the names you registered on the contract, and use that as a username for the platform. And the other way is using Dero ID. Dero ID is something that has been developed by Apollo, and it's asset-based identification provider, which is decentralized because it uses a smart contract. And basically what you do is you create a dedicated asset, so just an NFT. You create this asset, and this asset in the contract has some of your metadata. So if you have a bio, or if you have an image link, you can put that there. And then the token that is emitted from this contract can be used to log in the application, basically, or to register at least. And then when it's registered, basically you send the token to the contract, and I know you are this person holding the ID. So Dero ID is quite a cool thing, and it may be used in other applications and other protocols to be identified. So that's pretty cool. So there's two ways to do that. And once you're registered, you can post things. You can even post without being registered, so you can post anonymously. If you have a wallet, you don't even have to give your address. It's supposed to be anonymous, and then you can post messages in a very private ways, and people will react to it. So obviously, if you want to lock coins, you will have to be registered, because the platform needs your address to send back to you the coins you've locked, unless you want to lose them. But yeah, that's pretty much what you have to do. Just have a wallet, have a Dero wallet, and then connect to the website and play with it.
Perfect. That sounds simple enough for most people. So just for anybody who's listening and they see a voice they don't recognize, Waldo did join. He might chime in a little bit later, so be aware that's who that is. So I know. So Joy Raptor did the interface, right? Or he did like kind of some of the graphic design on that.
He helped me improve the initial version I had. He also proposed ideas that I didn't have the time to implement, or it was too big of a refactoring to do. But I started with the initial design. I kind of inspired from some of the things from Reddit, some of the things from Hodlocker, which is quite a similar concept, but on BSV, on Bitcoin. So yeah, it's just a message board. You can answer to the messages. You can filter. You can sort the posts from like which ones are the most locked, which ones are the last, and so on.
All right, perfect. Let's see. So, you're scheduling an open beta for users to come and, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, come and try to break it, or see what can be improved. When are you planning on doing that?
I was planning today, but I failed to to hold the schedule. It's almost ready. Like there's only very few details I need to figure out. We were speaking earlier with Six. I was thinking about a moderating feature, so that the community can still remove content if they need to, and that's a complicated matter, because we want everything to be on chain forever. But at the same time, some information might need to be removed, and I don't want to have the personal liability to have to do that. So I need to let the community have the tools to make it, to make it happen. So yeah, this I have to figure out and probably do it while it's in open beta. I'll let people play with it before this feature is on. But yeah, it's almost ready to go. I'm just, finishing some things. I've translated the website also. So that was a big part, that I worked on, last week. And, yeah, so the website will be available in French and English to start. And then if people want to help translate, I'll update that as well. But yeah, it's almost ready to go.
Perfect. We can help you announce too from our social media and all that. And obviously any information or links you want to include, we'll definitely include that on YouTube and Spotify descriptions. So when the open beta starts, how are people going to be able to find it and be able to participate?
I initially thought about having like a website where you can basically access the front end. I also want to have a version available on IPFS to make it secure enough in case my server goes down or whatever. But yeah, it's just gonna be a website that you can play with a wallet that supports the XSWD protocol. So you have I believe Ngram is in the way of supporting it. G45, the G45 wallet as well supports it. There's a version of the CLI wallet that Sleek's made that supports it as well. So there's a couple of ways to use it. I think I've put some links on the homepage. So if you're lost and get on the homepage, you can just follow the links and get a wallet.
Perfect. So aside from so you did say that you were talking about some moderation and stuff like that you wanted to add. And obviously the open beta is just barely coming, but is there any other like major future plans that you have for it? Like any major changes to the way you see it working, or is it basically what you have right now is what you're really shooting for?
I think what I have right now is mostly what I'm shooting for. I think the good thing is like, as it's a protocol and it's very, it's permissionless. Any application that needs this data can be built on top of the contract. And this data, all the conversation that will happen on the platform is public. So this can help, I don't know, a search engine, someone who wants to build a search engine based on Zero can use that protocol as well to value, to sort, index everything, to sort everything out. Yeah, so I don't want to make it too complicated. If someone else wants to do a better interface or something with a lot more features, they can. There's also some small features that might be very interesting, like to be able to share from whatever you wrote on Twitter onto Phoenix, and the other way around as well. If you post something on Phoenix, you might also want to share it automatically to Twitter, but that involves maybe a bot, or that involves a third party to do that. What other things? There's also, I'm not sure if you're aware of, Tree.market. It's a new project that popped up, a couple of weeks ago or months ago. We have a marketplace on there, and we might also have, something we thought about it with, I think it was Cake Master at the time, to have, if someone from Tree Market, like say a seller from Tree Market wants to promote one of the products, and some people help making it more visible by locking coins, maybe they can get a discount on the website, and that can be implemented in both sides, but Tree Market basically can read from Phoenix, from the Phoenix smart contract, that information, and know if someone that is registered as a client has actually helped the product to be promoted, so they can give a discount or something. So there's many use cases that keep coming up, and I think it's ready enough to stay in that form. and maybe just have some plugins or some stuff that will sit on top. But I think that's that's somehow close to the final version. Yeah.
That makes sense. I mean, as it stands right now, it's basically a great standalone social protocol on its own, but it sounds like you can put a lot of interoperability on it if you really wanted to. So that's pretty interesting that you could plug it into other things as well. So some of the other questions I have are kind of more of a question for everybody else to chime in if they want or ask their own questions. We can also get deeper into, maybe Six is going to be better at asking the types of questions on how it works on a deeper level too. So maybe he has some of those, but the first question I'm just going to ask, which is kind of for anybody to jump in and answer, is why do you think that this might be an app that people have really been waiting for? And why do you think people would want to use this over traditional social media?
I can answer. I think the idea is original, because locking coins for a specific amount of time provide, let's say, strong incentive. Like, it has a nice incentive structure, because if the audience, if the user base grows, people will have a strong incentive to somehow test their luck. If they come up with something good, with a nice boss or information to share, they can put a lot of coins to earn more coins. So I like this side of it. And then on the other side, for the censorship resistance, which obviously comes with it, although I'm very much interested in the moderation aspect, I think we will have to wait and see for that, like how it turns out.
Yeah, do you guys want to get into like the possible solutions for some of the moderation you've been kicking around? I know it was a little bit before we got started. Six and Bisa were talking a little bit on how that could work.
Yeah, the initial idea I had about that is making every community member, everyone who's registered on the platform, an active participant in that. By that I mean that, for example, if someone wants to remove some content, they would have to initiate it through the app or whatever. And at that point, the contract would select random users, like I don't know, 10. Let's say, for example, 10 people. And these 10 people can decide if yes, the content should be removed or not. And then if the content is removed, then maybe the person who helped the content to be removed can be rewarded in some way. So there's an actual incentive to try to do it, but it would be also kind of difficult, because the one who would propose the removal would have to deposit some value as well, that he may lose if the case is lost, basically. So it would look like a lot like the court system with a jury, basically. So we would select 10 people from the population, and they would have to decide on that after a discussion. So that was my initial idea for this. Definitely think it's implementable in a smart contract. It's basically a vote, but the hardest part would be to select 10 random users. But I think it's definitely doable. And yeah, that's the initial idea. Then we discussed a bit on the Discord chat. We discussed a bit about what's the how would the jury be deciding? Is it unanimous? Is it like a majority of them that enables the decision to be made? So yeah, this is very open to discussion, and I'm happy to get some feedback on that.
Yeah, there could also be a minimum too, and then there's also this isn't an easy problem to solve, so I'm glad that you're trying to tackle. But what else comes up in my mind too is if you're selecting random users, if those users don't vote, how do you handle that too, right?
Yeah, the initial. So I thought about it too, and the initial thing was like, once you initiate the request, basically you select, I don't know, maybe more than 10 people. You select double that or triple that, and the first desired number, so the first 10 people who actually jump on the occasion will be the jury. So if you have inactive users, then you reduce the chance of having them not voting or not doing anything on this.
There you go. That's a good solution too. Wow.
That's one solution, but that may not be the one solution. If you have a million users on the platform and you select only 100 people, maybe you have, I don't know, 95 that are inactive or that won't respond in time, and maybe that's just a matter of adapting the numbers over time. So if I see that too many requests are not fulfilled, then I will have to increase or decrease certain numbers, or make it more easy for those requests to start. And yeah, I think that's one idea. Maybe there's better than this. Maybe I can select from more active users. I'm not sure how exactly. It's gonna be more complicated to compute in a smart contract, but maybe it's doable.
That was actually what I was going to suggest, is maybe the pool of users that you select from randomly is the list, like the most active users on the platform for whatever period of time.
I'll also want to keep in mind to probably have a secondary fail-safe system, like something like maybe flagging content, because some content you don't want to be seen at all, right? Like, let's just say a scam link. Like, the longer that sits there, the more people are vulnerable to it. It's up to them to protect themselves ultimately, but just using that as an example, like maybe there'd be an option where if enough people flag it, it immediately removes it, and then you can deal with it in a tribunal status later. Just throwing in an idea there.
Yeah, that's interesting. And that's actually something that I'm thinking about for the front end, because so far the score of the post is not computed by the contract. The contract just holds the data of who logs what on which post. The front end, basically, I have the formula that I decide of the formula for scoring and for sorting the posts. And in the way I'm doing it on the front end, in the back end, you can actually give a flag to a post. So whenever you log something, there's a number that is attributed to that, another attribute to this log, and this number can contain information. So far I've only implemented one flag, which is positive and negative, so that you can upvote or downvote something. So if it's a scam link, basically everyone can just downvote it, and it would just end up being a negative score, and we'll end up in oblivion at the bottom of the feed. So that would serve this first purpose, and the second purpose of the flag would be to have dedicated information. For example, if some content is like pornographic or whatever, people may not want to see that, and they might be able to have settings for filtering content on the front end and be able to tweak with it. So if they actually want to see this content, they can disable the filter so they can see everything. But by default, maybe on the app, the filters will be enabled, so you won't see the flagged content, or it will be hidden in some way. So you might see the post, but there would be, I don't know, a blurred thing or whatever, so that people know that there is something, but it's been hidden because of the filters they have enabled. And that might solve this point of being fast with it. Like, if the post is there and everyone sees that it's scam, they just have to log anything, even if it's a small value, they just have to lock it with a negative flag. And when we see a post with more negative flags than positive flags, there's a sign there that maybe it's flagged for a good reason. So yeah, that could solve this problem as well.
Would it be possible, since this is a content protocol, would it be possible to allow people to build different front ends where they moderate content as they deem fit?
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think ultimately that's the solution to content moderation. If you build different websites using the underlying protocol, and like a bit like a Reddit, but where each front end is like a subreddit where people get to pick, and so whichever front end is better moderated or less, let's say, cleaner, or there gets the most traffic, like to have some sort of free market front ends.
Exactly. It's definitely doable. I mean, I've made choices for the front end for like just computing the score. Like I'm computing a score. Maybe you don't want to compute a score. Maybe you just want to have all the content sorted in a totally other way. Maybe you want to filter that by country, by language, because I've added some metadata that you can add on there's a metadata fields on the post, so you can add a language. So whenever you write with the French setup browser, and the metadata is there automatically to put it in French. You can see that the post in other languages in my app, but in some other app you can just see in your own. There's also, I had an idea because I was discussing with a friend earlier. Maybe you can build a blog from this. Using this platform, basically, you can make your own blog. So you just post things, and in the metadata, you put that it's a blog or something, or the website of the blog, or an identifier, and then information just pops up on your front end, and it's only your content, and whatever responses that are made in Phoenix will be maybe accessible on their blog as well. So if people want to comment on blog post, they will see it either on Phoenix or on the blog. So basically it's a big database and a tool to put content and make people value it, and then you can use that content anywhere on any front end. So if there's a better content that, I don't know, use AI to put out the best post and the most quality post, feel free to do it. Feel free to do it. If it's better than what I did, I'll be happy. I'll definitely be happy.
If I can ask you a question that maybe, just to front run any possible speculation in the future, is you obviously put a lot of work into this, and the economics, of the app are very important. Like, what's the motivation? So are you funded by some third party, or is this self-funded? And you have a long-term business model, like as a developer, will there be some revenue stream, like a way to reward you for your work? Should this application gain a lot of traction and user value?
Yeah, I initially wanted to put that as something that is totally free, and then people mostly told me I was crazy. So I started implementing, and they were quite right. I can definitely have a model for that. So what I did is, the platform takes fees from different sources. So whenever you lock something, there's a small additional fee. So if you want to lock $1 for 1 year, let's say, you will basically pay a little bit more than $1, so that you can get back the full $1 at the end, but you will pay a small fee, and this fee is basically staying in the contract, and I can withdraw it anytime. So that's one of the fees. There's another fee if you want to add one of your an asset to be used on Dero, then you have to pay quite a larger fee that time, so that if people want to put down points, or they own I don't know, stable coin or whatever to value post, they can do it, but it's going to be costly because I don't want to have shit coins popping up in every direction on the platform. So basically I've implemented all sorts of fees, which will be, there's mechanics to these fees. It's not like fixed fees. So if, for example, you want to post something you want to, lock on some posts, if you post for a very long time, basically the fee is going to be very, very, very small, because I want to incentivize people to log for long times. That's when the score will get bigger for posts, and that's where the platform, I would say, is used in its best interest. If you want to log for a short amount of time, then the fee percentage is increasing. There's in the app, there's a widget which you can play with, and you have basically a slider. And if you put it on the left, so for short times, you will see the percentage increase. And if you put it on the right, you will see the percentage decrease. So you can check at which point it's getting interesting to log for what time. So I think the settings I have now, it's like a kind of an inverse function. So if you go to put $1 for 1 year, I think the fee is 0.01% or something, or 2%. So it's very, very, very low. But if you post like for 1 day, it's going to be 27%. So it's drastically increasing the more you get, the closer you get to a couple of days or a couple of seconds. But if you put it for a month, it's going to be very low. For a couple of months, it's going to be very low. So what I wanted to do with this is like discourage scammers or people who want to influence very quickly to do it. This allows as well maybe companies to advertise something in a short time, and I get some of this fee. So if they want to I don't know, promote their product for 1 month, I would get a fee on that. So that could be interesting as well. So that's the initial model with all these fee systems, where I'm getting money from these bits. What I want to do next is create a decentralized organization to be able to improve the app. So if there's updates to translations to another language, I can basically let people take these tasks and work on them. So that's going to be probably another contract, something that is separated. But yeah, that's the initial business model that I've implemented.
There's a Phoenix token as well. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct. And I'm not sure exactly what it's going to be useful for. So far, what you can do is whenever you lock some Dero, so it's going to be only working on Dero. If you lock Dero on the platform, you will get some equivalent issued to you in the Phoenix token. So that's basically kind of a proof that you've locked some things. And I don't know, maybe it can be used for badges or whatever. So if you prove that you have, I don't know, 1 million, you've locked, I don't know, 100 Dero, so you have 100 token, Phoenix token, then you can, I don't know, buy a badge saying that you've locked 100 Dero. That could be just for fun and pride. You can also lock the token back to a post, and that would increase a bit the score, but it's going to be less than the other, of course. Yeah, and maybe other usage, maybe for the content moderation, if someone has a lot of maybe it could be used as a deposit, so you would deposit that to prove that you've been an active user, to be able to moderate content. I don't know. There's probably a lot of uses, but I've not thought about that.
What you mentioned at the end was sort of what was on my mind there. The Phoenix tokens could play into any of the moderation, as well as being used to determine how active users are, or maybe that somehow affects how the users can moderate. Like if it's weight-based, the more active users might be able to prove that, yes, I'm here more often and my content is valued because I have X amount of Phoenix tokens. So that person has a little larger say in terms of moderation.
I was going to bring up that if people were like staking for a short period of time or locking tokens for a short period of time, that they could kind of game the system and get a lot of the Phoenix tokens. But I think that's already taken care of with the higher fees. They end up just paying a lot of money for those Phoenix tokens, so it kind of makes it harder to get that. Yeah,
definitely.
And then also, there is maybe you can buy certain badges too, so people can save up their tokens and buy a badge that shows that they had at least that many tokens at one point.
Yeah, definitely. Or I don't know if they would have to like buy it or just send X amount of token and get an equivalent badge and get the tokens back, of course, because if they stay longer, then they would have more.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because if you buy a badge, then you lose all your tokens, and then you have to save for the next one.
You would have to start from scratch. Yeah. Maybe you can sell your old badge with the token that values that many tokens, and get a new badge. That could work as well.
Kind of like when you change the color of your chips in a casino, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Another question. I mean, we've got time for another question. So basically, if I'm an altcoiner, right, like I own Zero.dero, I just have a wallet. I mean, how would it work for me? Like, would I have to buy some Dero first, or would there be a way for me to just post a message and see it rise if, for example, a lot of people have bought it and block coins into it?
You would of course need just a bit of Dero in order to pay the blockchain fees, because whenever you post something, it's going to be a transaction, and this transaction will require some fee. Dero fees are very, very low, so I guess if you get one Dero, you can make a lot of posts. But yeah, you can post anonymously, you don't have to pay. Posting is basically free. Posting is for free. Locking then uses the fee system. But if you lock for a very long time and you lock, I don't know, 0.1 Dero, for 1 year, the fee is gonna be very, very, very low. And the minimum fee is like 1 Deri, I don't know, you would say, so it's like the lowest price you can put on Dero. So if you lock for a very, very long time, then you would just have to pay this amount, which is lower than the transaction fee anyways. Yeah, that would work.
Is there any mechanism or any plans to have a mechanism for when people lock a post, basically for ad votes, that the person who made the post maybe gets a small percentage of that Dero sent to them when it's unlocked? Or you mentioned blogs, and that's what kind of made me think of it, because maybe if someone was self-hosting a blog and people were locking some of the Dero, that could be a potential revenue stream for somebody and encourage people to make their own content.
Yeah, I could enable that I could enable that two ways. So what is doable today is you can lock for someone else. So you give another address than your own, and then you cannot unlock these funds, but someone else can unlock the funds, for example. So that should be able to be done. I haven't done it on the front end, but you can do it. The other way, which would be to tip through front end. So because you have the username, or you have the address, then you can directly maybe tip the person on the platform. So it's easier to make a transaction instead of going to your wallet and copy pasting the address and whatever. So it could be one click, tip this person how much, and then the front end would just have to make a simple transaction. So that can be implemented as well.
With the time lock slider in that part of the interface, perhaps you could just have a checkbox where you can say tip, and then maybe it just sends a certain small amount when you just do the lock.
Yeah, the easiest way for me would be 2 transactions then, but yeah, in order to reach the have that. But I think it's gonna have to have changes in the smart contract, because the smart contract computes the fees and all of that. So if you add to an amount, the contract needs to know that there's an additional amount that goes to someone else. But that may be doable in one shot from the contract. If you give, for example, a tip address and an amount in the smart contract, then they can just send some of the additional funds already. So that could all happen in one transaction. Yeah. That's a good thing. Yeah, I'll probably take note. Yeah.
I don't want to give you more work, but
it's gonna be for later probably, because I won't do it for the release. But I'll note it. I'll note it right now.
I think the future of allowing people to lock coins for other people, that's an amazing future, because the social media on-chain idea, I mean, with blockchain has been tested in many places and by different chains. It never really took off, I think, because there was no real incentive for certain people to open board. But if you allow me to lock coins for someone else whose address I know, let's say some influencer on Twitter whom I convinced to just drop their address for tips, then you could, by locking coins for them, if I understand it correctly, like we would create an incentive for them to join the application like Phoenix to claim those coins. Or am I wrong?
I'm not sure I've got the whole question. Can you rephrase it again?
Yeah, so basically, let's say there is an influencer on Twitter, okay, and I know their address. I go in Phoenix and I lock some coins for that address. If I understood correctly, that will be possible, right?
It allows that the Phoenix the front end doesn't do it, but I can make it happen definitely.
Because if I log them for another address, let's say we want a guy on Phoenix, so Chris Black, for example, we want him on Phoenix. We know his their address, and we log there together. Everyone sets one coin, 1,000 euros on Phoenix. That only his their address can unlock. Then that would be a huge incentive for him, like a guarantee of audience somehow join and to unlock those coins by posting or by just being active. Would that be correct, or I misunderstood how looking for someone else would work?
Once you lock some coins for a given amount of time, for that amount of time you cannot touch the coins. So if you lock for someone else, let's say I lock these coins for 1 month, and for another address, then this other address can unlock that in 1 month. So they cannot unlock that before. But it's still going to be a good incentive because you're saying, okay, I'm locking coins for you. I'm basically giving you a tip that I put for you in a month. It's going to be available in a month on the platform. So just join the platform. And in a month, you're going to have your tip, basically.
Or that tip can get bigger because basically these people don't join these platforms because they say, I mean, their first reaction would be there is nobody on Phoenix that reads my posts. But if there is already a bounty, like then somewhat of some kind of a bounty, like this treasury of coins waiting for them, then that's proof of audience, like the way telling those people that there are already many Phoenix users that are waiting for you there. Like in that sense, no other Sparks I know had this kind of incentive.
Exactly. That's cool.
That would be amazing.
I'll note that. I'll note it as well. That locking for someone else may be locking for someone else may be a good feature to have.
It'd be a super feature in my opinion, something that would make a huge difference because it'd be really the first time that this kind of incentive is baked in this kind of protocols for content on chain.
So I was just going to open it up and let you talk if you had anything else you wanted to talk about or if anybody else had any last questions for you before we let you go. I know you got to get going.
I'm excited to see it in action.
Cool.
Yeah, no, this is going to be fun. And you said the open beta is supposed to be soon, right? So this ZeroPoint will go out tomorrow. Or actually it might go out Sunday, so is it going to be in the next couple of days by the time this goes out, or did you maybe have more of a delay than that?
No, I don't think I have much of a delay. I would say next week for sure, but I don't want to say for sure because I said that last week. But no, I don't have big features to implement anymore. So that one for the first release. So yeah, it should be out in a couple of days, definitely. So probably a couple of days after the release of this episode. Yeah.
Okay, we'll keep in touch on that, and then we'll make sure that we announce it for you and our platforms too.
Definitely.
Super excited to test the beta. One last question for me: are you coming to Nonsensus this year? It was super cool hanging out with you last year.
Yeah. I'll definitely make it. I'll make it.
Nice. Look forward to seeing you, man.
Same.
We'll get the band back together.
Yeah, exactly. Blues Brothers.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody's time. I'm gonna let you get on to what you have to take care of. And thanks everybody for joining, especially I know it was a little bit short notice for a few people. So thanks everyone again, and we'll see everybody on the next one.
Cool. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Have a good one, everyone.